Good morning. We're just going to give folks a moment to join from the waiting room and to connect to audio. As a reminder, when you are entering from the waiting room, please do remain on mute unless or until you are appearing or testifying before the board.
Hello.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Once again, as a reminder, please remain on mute unless or until you are appearing or testifying before the board. Good morning. This is a hearing before the licensing board for the city of Boston. Today is Tuesday, December 12th, 2023. This hearing is being held pursuant to temporary amendments to the open meeting law. That is what allows us to meet virtually. Today's hearing is being recorded and will be posted to the city of Boston's website. Before I review procedural matters, I will introduce Chairwoman of the Board, Kathleen Joyce.
Good morning. Thank you, Danny. My name is Kathleen Joyce. I am Chair of the Boston Licensing Board. Excuse me. Today, I'm pleased to be joined by Commissioner Kiana Saxon and Commissioner Liam Curran.
Great. Thank you very much. Please do ensure that your audio and visuals are working properly. I will call each item in the order that it appears on this morning's agenda. I will then ask who is present on behalf of the licensee, who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department, and whether there are any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify. I will then swear in all parties. After that, the police report will be read into the record, and the licensee or their representative will have the opportunity to make a brief statement, followed by questions by the chair and commissioners. All testimony will be limited only to those individuals with firsthand personal knowledge of the alleged incident. Item number 1 on this morning's agenda has been continued to a later available hearing date. So we'll begin with item number 2 on this morning's agenda, calling Old Colonial Corporation, doing business as Bell in Hand, located at 45 to 55 Union Street. Date of the incident, April 22nd, 2023. Assault and battery in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Adam Kessler.
Thank you, Mr. Kessler. Who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Sergeant Clifford Davis.
Police Officer Karen Mejia.
Thank you very much. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning?
I apologize. Hector Huertas for the Bell in Hand, family manager.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Huertas. If you could all please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
I do.
Thank
I
you.
apologize. Stephen Red Robin's here. He was named in the police report, and there is another recipient witness, Jay Agual, as well.
Great. Thank you. And sorry, Attorney Noonan, if you could please identify yourself as well, if you are representing anyone in this matter.
Attorney Brendan Noonan, I represent Stephen Red Robin, the victim named in the police report.
Thank you. And can the 2 individuals that you named also please identify themselves so we can swear them in as well if they'll be providing testimony?
Yep. Hi, everyone. My name is Steven Redrevan. I am the victim on the police report.
Thank you. And Attorney Noonan, did you mention another individual as well?
Yes, Jay Agrawal, and I'll be a witness to the incident.
Thank you very much, Mr. Redrevan and Mr. Agrawal. Could you please raise your right hands as well? And do you both swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much. Who will be reading the police report into the record? Will that be Sergeant Davis or Officer Mejia?
Officer Mejia.
Thank you very much. You may please proceed.
About 1:26 a.m. on Saturday, April 22nd, 2023, Officers Mejia and Roca in the Alpha 202 Alpha responded to a radio call for an assault and battery in progress at Bell in Hand Tavern, 45 Union Street, Boston. On arrival, officers met with the victim, Stephen Jamie Redroven Flores, who stated he was on the upper level of the Bell in Hand Tavern when he was forcibly removed by bar staff. Redroven Flores stated he was standing in the bar when staff went to remove two males that were standing near him. Redroven Flores stated he did not realize that they were staff and lifted his arms to push them away. Redroven Flores stated he then realized who they were and halted any further acts of aggression towards them. Redroven Flores stated staff pushed him down the stairs, punched him in the head, and removed him from the bar. Redroven Flores' friend, J. Mahesh Agwal, and another male who is a stranger to Redroven Flores, Gregory Sylvia, both witnessed the incident and corroborated his version of events. Officers observed Redroven Flores to have a small laceration on the left side of his face near his eyebrow. Boston EMS transported Redroven Flores to Massachusetts General Hospital for treatment. Officers spoke with bar staff who stated they went to the upper level of the bar to remove two patrons. Staff member Dallas Ray Hudgens stated he was trying to make his way through the crowd and by Redroven Flores. Hudgens stated after asking him to move multiple times, he put his hand on Redroven Flores' arm to get his attention. That was when Redroven Flores turned to Hudgens, clenched his fists, and lifted his shoulders and took a perceived fighting stance. Hudgens and other staff then turned their attention towards Redroven Flores and removed him from the bar. Staff stated Redroven Flores obtained his facial laceration when he hit his head while being removed. Bell in Hand Tavern security cameras were able to partially capture the incident. Camera 14 at 1:06 a.m. captures when staff removes Redroven Flores on the second level of the bar. Staff can be seen pushing him towards the stairs and then getting him to start walking down the stairs. Camera 12 at 1:08 a.m. captures multiple staff members carrying Redroven Flores down the stairs and out the door. Due to camera angles, neither camera shows what Redroven Flores did to prompt the removal. Staff stated the footage will be saved on a USB drive. And Patrol Supervisor Sergeant Davis responded to the bar and conducted a Code 35 license premise inspection. Citation 059112 was issued.
Thank you very much, Officer Mejia. Mr. Kessler, Mr. Huertas, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yes, we would. Can I ask questions to Mr. Huertas? Okay. When the police arrived, did you cooperate with the police?
Yes.
Did we call the police?
Yes.
When the person was approached by Mr. Hudgens, was he wearing a staff shirt?
Correct. He's wearing his red door guy staff shirt.
And what does it say on the back of the staff shirt?
Staff.
Staff. And what was the direction that they were bringing them towards from the area that they were going? How far away was it?
They were on the top of the staircase, which is a couple feet from the staircase itself. When they were escorting him out, from there's a flight of stairs that brings you down to the first floor.
So on the video, it shows them basically walking him out.
Yes.
Okay, and then the second portion of the video, we see them doing what?
Can I interrupt real quick?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, is this firsthand testimony or is he testifying what he saw in the video?
He's testifying what he saw in the video.
Okay, was he present?
No.
Thank you.
So when you saw the video of them coming down the stairs, at that point, he was being carried.
Correct.
Correct. And then he was put down outside.
Yes.
Okay. To your knowledge, did anyone hit Mr. Flores?
Not that I was aware of, correct, no.
And so we cooperated, we called the police. Mr. Flores said that he had an aggressive stance or aggressions towards the doorman prior to identifying them as doorman. What was the aggression? Did you see anything on the video? I didn't see.
No, not directly from the video itself. As I said, it was, you couldn't see full things in the video there. So I'm not entirely sure what was being said or done.
Thank you very much. Is there anything you have to add?
No?
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, detectives.
Thank you, Mr. Kessler, Mr. Huertas. Chairman Joyce, do you have any questions for the licensee before we move on to the victim and witness?
Yes, so Mr. Huertas, were you there that night or were you watching this later?
Yes, I was the manager on duty that night. I was not there for that incident itself. I responded immediately after as they were outside.
You responded outside, and who called the police?
I believe Cliff Anderson was the one that called the police. He was one of the managers on duty that night.
You believe he did? Did he? Do you know what time
He did.
Because it looks like from the incident report that the victim called the police.
My understanding, they both had called the police. Cliff Anderson did have 911 on his phone that night after I spoke to him.
Okay. And how long did these employees work there?
Clifton Anderson worked there for about 1.5 years at that time. He's no longer employed with us. Dallas Hudgens has worked there for Dallas Hudgens Jr., excuse me, has worked there for going on 2 years now.
And why does Mr. Anderson not work there anymore?
He has another job.
He left on his own, or was it a?
Yes, correct.
And in the video that you're referring to, we have not seen it. Is that something you will forward to the board?
Yes, we do have a copy of that for you guys.
Okay. I don't have any questions. Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon, do you have any questions?
Not at this time.
No questions from me, thank you.
Thank you. And that video can be provided either an email to licensingboard@boston.gov or dropped in a thumb drive directly to our office at City Hall.
I'll drop it off.
Thank you. We'll now move on. Attorney Noonan, would you and or your client like to provide any further testimony to the board?
Yes, thank you. Stephen, you want to just provide an account of what transpired that night for the board here?
Yes. Hi everyone. My name is Steven. I'm the victim in the report. What had transpired in that night was, from my recollection, that we were upstairs in the second floor of the bar, as stated, and I was near the bar area. And there was an incident going on behind me of 2 males that were at the bar. I believe the bouncers were responding to that incident, and they were rushing to those 2 males. And upon them rushing, I got pushed heavily from the back. And when that happened, I had I flinched in reaction, so I turned around to see what happened, who had pushed me. And then once I realized it was bouncers, I halted any further aggression. I didn't really do anything because I knew what was going on. From there, I'm not sure if they got confused with that I was with the 2 other guys that were there, or what exactly, why I got kind of targeted, but everyone just came towards me and kind of rushed me out without giving me an explanation or anything that was going on. Since we were in the second floor, there was a bunch of chaos going on. There was 6 bouncers, 4 or 6 bouncers, I don't quote the exact number. While we were going down the stairs, I was getting pushed and shoved. I did end up falling down the stairs, which is how I grabbed, I hurt one of my left wrists because I had to break my fall. Then I was starting getting carried, pushed, shoved, and within all of that commotion, I also did receive a laceration on my left eyebrow. And I did have a pain in my right shoulder. I had a lot of bruising and a lot of swelling from being constantly pulled down the stairs. From there, they took me out the bar, and I was again provided no explanation, and that's kind of when I called the cops.
Thank you. Attorney Noonan, anything further from your client before we move to questions from the board?
Yeah, how much did you have to drink? Did you have anything to drink that night?
Just a couple drinks.
I'd just like to hear from the other witness, if we could.
Yep, Mr. Agarwal, you've already been sworn in. If you could unmute yourself.
All right. Hello all. Yes, I witnessed the incident. Me and Steven were at the bar, trying to order drinks from the bartender. The bar was very busy, so we couldn't get the attention of the bartender. And during that time, again, a few bouncers went past us to grab the two individuals they were removing from the premises, and they ended up pushing us, and we turned around. And again, like Steven said, they grabbed him. They didn't try to de-escalate the situation. They were very aggressive and wouldn't talk to us or explain what was occurring, and ended up grabbing him and pushing him down the stairs. And there was also another bouncer at the bottom of the stairs pulling him down. And again, he got injured, a cut above his eye that needed stitches later on in the night. And he bruised his hands and wrists going down the stairs. And again, he was carried out of the bar without showing any aggression or anything at all. Thank you.
I'd just like to say that the video, it speaks for itself. I don't think the board could render a full and fair decision without viewing that video. Yeah.
Thank you, Attorney Noonan. I will turn it back to the board to see if there are remaining questions, and we will waiting for that video as well. Chairwoman Joyce.
This question is either for Attorney Kessler or for Mr. Huertas. How, if there were 4 to 6 bouncers upstairs at the time that this happened, how come not one of the staff that were there that night is here today to testify? And then your manager's relying on video that we have not seen yet, in that the testimony in the police report and today says the video doesn't even capture the whole incident.
So first off, I'm not an attorney.
What do you own the bar? I'm
my,
sorry.
my wife owns the bar.
Okay.
I think the video does speak for itself. I think you'll watch the video. I think that they're seeking monetary damages for this, and I think that's the reason for the explanation of how they're trying to play this out. The individual, Dallas Hudgens, is a student. He's in class. Cliff Anderson no longer works for us. The other person listed in the thing no longer works for us. They have other jobs and they're just not available.
So when something, what's the policy at Bellingham when something like this happens? Do you interview staff?
Call the police. Cooperate fully with the police. Make sure that we provide the video to the police, which I believe we also provided the video to the police that night. And cooperate fully with the board. Our staff was trying to get this individual out. The way it was described to me was that when Mr. Hudgens tried to get by him, he shoved him, not Mr. Hudgens shoved him. So I think the video will show that. I think pretty clearly shows Mr. Hudgens wearing a staff shirt, so it's easy to identify him. Again, we don't have an attorney representing us because we don't feel there's as much merit to this as they're giving us to. I think it's just them trying to grab some money.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Something like this, I guess my question was, when something like this happens, an incident like this happens, you have video, you preserved it, you said you called the police. What did your staff do afterwards? Did the manager interview the people that were involved? Did you get written statements? You know, did they sign an affidavit that they couldn't be here today?
The statements were given to the police right then and there. So I didn't feel it was necessary to get written statements there. It says it in the documentation on the hearing notice. So there was no need for separate statements other than the ones that were provided.
Okay. Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon, do you have any questions for Mr. Kessler or any of the other witnesses?
My question is for Attorney Noonan, and have you obtained this video? It just sounds like you have.
I have not.
You have
Uh,
not.
I have not seen it, no. I'm confident in the accounts that I've gotten from my client. I also spoke to the other witness. He couldn't make it today, Mr. Silva. And all three accounts were the same. So I'm fairly confident that the video will corroborate their account.
Okay. All right, and so Mr. Kessler, will we be getting camera 14?
Yeah,
What's that?
I have it with me today. I'm gonna walk over to the licensing office today.
So we'll get camera 14 and camera 12 as it's described in the police report?
Correct.
And no other cameras captured any part of this?
There was nothing else that was available that would show anything.
Okay. Yeah, I'm reading the police report and I mean, what's absence? I have a question for Officer Mejia. What I don't see here is a denial that he was pushed while he was on the stairs. Did you address that with the staff?
I don't recall if I did or didn't.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing that as a glaring absence here. So that's all I really can say without any of the staff that were involved in this.
Like to-
Thank you.
I'd like to also add that Mr. Reardon tore his rotator cuff in this incident, fractured a tooth. Also sustained tendon damage to his wrist. So
Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, the board will take this matter under advisement and the video will be shared with the commissioners as soon as we receive it here at the licensing board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Calling item number 3, Fenway Johnny's LLC, doing business as Fenway Johnny's, located at 96 to 98 Brookline Ave. Date of the incident, May 13th, 2023. Assault and battery, employee on patron in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A. An assault and battery patron on employee in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
John Karen, owner, manager.
Thank you, Mr. Karen. Who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Officer Lauren Cavalieri.
Sergeant Andrew Medina.
Thank you. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
This is Attorney Seamus O'Kelly.
Great. Thank you, Attorney O'Kelly.
I just can't see my image on the screen, but that's fine as long as you can hear me.
We can hear you just fine now. And I will ask again if there are any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the incident who wish to testify.
There is another individual, Gar McLean, the manager of Fenway Johnny's on duty that night, and John Karen has already introduced himself, the owner and licensee.
Thank you, and we do see Mr. McLean as well. Could you all please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Thank you. Who will be reading the police report into the record?
Officer Lauren Cavalieri.
Thank you very much, officer. You may please proceed.
About 12:05 a.m. on Saturday, May 13th, 2023, officers Cavalieri and Jacobs responded to a radio call for a disturbance at 96 Brookline Ave, Boston. Prior to arrival, Boston Police Dispatch Channel 5 advised the officers the following 911 notes. A group of people were kicked out of the bar and are now trying to fight the bouncers. 5 people, males, no known weapons. Caller is head of kitchen. States bouncers need help removing the males. Upon arrival, officers approached the door staff of Fenway Johnny's to assist with dispersing the altercation. Officers spoke with suspect number 1, Levi Ramirez, and suspect number 2, Michael McCarthy, who advised that there was a group of highly intoxicated individuals who were aggressively arguing to get back into the bar after being removed earlier in the evening. Suspect number 1 advised that majority of the group dispersed upon advising them police were on the way. However, specifically pointed to one male individual who was still on scene. Suspect number 1 and suspect number 2 advised that this specific individual, later identified as Matthew Morris, was physically pushing them to gain entry into the bar, was belligerently videotaping them until police arrival. Fenway Johnny's manager, Gar McLean, was on scene and advised that there are videos of the altercation that can be provided for further investigation. Officers observed the male, Matthew Morris, to be highly intoxicated, standing in the street surrounding 2 identified females who also appeared extremely under the influence. Officers observed throw-up surrounding the parties. When officers attempted to move them along from the area and inform the individuals on why police were called, the male, Matthew Morris, became upset and stated that Fenway Johnny's staff slapped him across the face. Officers observed no redness or injury to the male's face. The male, Matthew Morris, made statements of making charges towards the door staff and stated numerous times that his lawyer would be in touch with the officers. Officers advised the male that a police report would be documented. Officers spoke with the owner of Fenway Johnny's, John Karen, who stated that he was out front during the incident and witnessed the entire altercation. The owner/witness, John Karen, corroborated the same story that was provided initially by the door staff. The witness stated that the male, Matthew Morris, was initially sitting down in front of the neighboring business's door with a group of individuals, all extremely intoxicated, when he got up and aggressively attempted to push his way back into Fenway Johnny's. The witness confirmed that there are security cameras. It should be noted that due to the large crowds in the Fenway area, officers remained on scene with their lights on. Officers observed the male, Matthew Morris, pacing to and from the entrance of Fenway Johnny's and back down the street to the point where Fenway Johnny's door staff came over to the officers and advised that the male was again belligerently videotaping them. Officers then observed the male videotaping and taking pictures of Boston Police marked cruiser 1529. Sergeant Medina notified. The Fenway Johnny's door staff was identified as Levi Ramirez, Michael McCarthy, Fabricio Souza, and Michael Medeiros. Sergeant Medina conducted a license premise check with citation 022460 and handed to owner John Karen on scene.
Thank you very much. Attorney O'Kelly, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yes, please. Officer, were you one of the officers directly involved in this episode on May the 13th of 2023?
Yes, I was.
And who was your partner that early morning?
Officer Jacobs, who's not on the Zoom call right now.
And you got a call to report to the bar for a disturbance. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And when you arrived, you had a conversation with a number of the door staff who told you that there were individuals aggressively trying to get back into the premises. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And one of those individuals, specifically Matthew Morris, was identified to you by the door staff. Is that correct?
Yes, he was pointed out and he was later identified.
And did you personally observe Matthew Morris's conduct that evening?
I did, yes. Yes,
And-
he was highly intoxicated.
And what was he doing?
He was being slightly belligerent. He was pacing back and forth as noted in the police report. He was refusing to leave the area. Kind of as what was stated in the police report. He was just not listening to door staff or us.
And he also made an allegation, did he not, that he was slapped in the face by one of the bouncers in the establishment. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And you personally took a look at his face, is that correct?
Yes.
And you wrote in your report that you observed no redness or no scratches or no injury to his face. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And it's true that Mr. Morris was, I think you stated in your report, aggressively videotaping the bar. Is that correct?
Yes.
The bar staff, correct?
I believe he was. He had his phone out. Yes. I don't know if he was actually videotaping or not, but yes, it appeared that he was videotaping.
And making statements that he was going to get a lawyer involved.
Correct.
You then spoke with Mr. Karen, correct?
Yes.
And John Karen, the licensee, the owner of the bar, he was outside when this was occurring. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you've read already what Mr. Karen said. We're going to hear directly from Mr. Karen, but you wrote in your report that Mr. Karen corroborated what the bar staff said with respect to Mr. Morris. Is that correct?
Correct.
And it's true, isn't it, that Mr. Morris continued to stay outside the premises and at this point was videotaping the police cruiser itself. Is that correct?
Correct.
I have nothing further for the officer, and thank you very much for your testimony.
Thank you, Attorney O'Kelly. Will you be introducing your clients now?
Yes, I'd like to call John Karen. Are you there, John?
Present.
Just please state your name for the record.
John Karen, owner, manager, Family Johnny's.
And you've heard the you've heard the evidence that has been produced so far in this matter about an incident that occurred the early morning of May the 13th, 2023, right?
Yes, that's pretty much what happened.
And was this gentleman, Mr. Morris, had he been escorted out of the bar?
He had been.
And could you describe your observation of Mr. Morris and his actions on the morning of May the 13th, 2023, please?
Well, I would say after the observation of seeing the whole, his demeanor through the whole thing with the police and all, I'd say it was on something other than alcohol. But
well, what did you see him do?
I mean, he was just nonstop belligerent to the police and the staff and myself, and I just kept telling him, just leave, just go. The police came, same thing. He just would not stop the whole thing. I'm getting my attorney, and that was it. He just kept charging the door.
He kept charging, so he was being physical.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what was he trying to get back into the bar? Is that what he was trying to do?
Yeah, he wanted to get back in.
And you spoke to Officer Calaveri that morning as well, correct?
Yes.
The officer who arrived. And the officer stayed until, by the way, strike that. Did Mr. Morris ever succeed in getting back into the bar?
He did not. It took a while for him to leave. The police were just, I don't know, 5 car lengths or so from the front, and they had their lights on the whole time.
Okay. I have nothing further for Mr. Karen. The board may have some questions of you. Madam Chairperson and Commissioners, I do have one other witness, Gar McLean. He was there that evening. He was the manager on duty. He was primarily inside on the premises. I don't believe he witnessed any of this, but he was there and he's identified in the report. And I wanted to have him present in case you had any questions. So I'll just ask you, Mr. McLean, you've heard the evidence that's been adduced so far in this case.
Yes. Basically, it happened the way that everyone described. I was inside. I came out when the police arrived to mainly just help give whatever information we had. And I've provided whatever video we have of the incident out front to you, Seamus.
Okay. I'm not actually physically in possession of the video.
Oh, right.
But Mr. Karen is.
Okay, sorry.
And have you taken a look at that video yourself?
Yeah. Basically it just shows him being removed from the bar, escorted out. And then the cameras out front where it would show him trying to get back in and arguing with the staff. You can't really see him. He's out of frame when he's arguing, but you can see he refused to leave.
I've nothing further of Mr. McLean, and I have no further evidence in this matter. If the board has any questions of Mr. Karen or Mr. McLean or of me.
Thank you, Attorney Kelly. We will turn to the board to see if there are any questions, beginning with Chairwoman Joyce.
Thanks. The police report states that the victim said the door staff slapped him across the face. Is that on any of the video?
Not that I noticed, saw or no.
Did any of the door staff, did any of the door staff slap him?
When I asked them, they said no, it would.
Okay,
I was out front. I saw nothing.
okay. And how long was this group inside?
I'm unaware.
Do you know, Mr. Karen?
I don't know how long they were in there.
Okay, and we'll get a copy of the video?
I can drop that off today if you like.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Curran, Commissioner Saxon, do you have any questions?
No, I'll just wait on the video. Thank you.
You might have testified to this, but how much did he have to drink?
Unaware.
I don't know either.
Any further questions from the board? Board will take this matter under advisement as well. We will await the video and it will be shared with the commissioners as soon as we receive it at the licensing office. Thank you very much.
I'll drop it today.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
And you, item number 4 will also be continued to the next available hearing date. Now calling item number 5 on this morning's agenda, calling Park 54 Restaurant Group LLC, doing business as Park 54 Restaurant and Lounge located at 81 Fairmount Ave in Hyde Park. Date of the incident, July 10th, 2023. Assault and battery, person and employees in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
I am Tasha Hull.
And I am Shayla Harris Garcia, manager.
Thank you, Ms. Hall. Thank you, Ms. Harris Garcia. Who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Sergeant Edwards present, if not, Lieutenant Detective Troy.
Thank you. I do not see the sergeant. Thank you, Lieutenant Detective Troy. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning? Can you all please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
No.
Thank you. Oh, sorry. I see one other individual who just raised his right hand who has not identified himself. Tyrone P. I'm going to ask you to unmute if you could please identify yourself.
Yes, my name is Tyrone Perry, and I was a security hired for that night.
Great. Thank you very much. And I will ask again, are there any other individuals who wish to testify this morning who have not yet been sworn in? Mr. Perry, if you could please just raise your right hand since you were not sworn in yet. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you very much. Lieutenant Detective Troy, if you could please read the police report to the record for us.
Reading from an incident report written by an Officer Clement. It reads as follows: about 12:16 on Monday, July 10, 2023, Officer Clement and Officer Jean responded to a radio call for an investigate persons in the area of 81 Fairmount Ave, Hyde Park. Other assistance units from District 18 also responded. Prior to the arrival, officers received information from Channel 4 dispatcher that read as follows: need police for multiple fights at the above. Caller states there's a fight outside. Caller is not answering questions. The call was disconnected. On arrival, officers observed a group of people outside Park 54 Restaurant and Lounge located at the above address. It should be noted that there was a lot of yelling and screaming despite the officer's presence. Officers spoke to a customer identified as Quiana George. Ms. George stated that she was punched in the face by an employee, unknown employee of Park 54. Ms. George stated that the employee was having a conversation with his partner when Miss George intervened in a conversation. The employee punched her in the face. Officer observed a small scratch to Miss George's nose, and she stated that she sustained an injury from the punch. Officer advised the Boston EMS, she declined EMS. Officer spoke to an employee, Tyrone Turner Perry, who stated that his co-worker suspect was talking with somebody when Miss George rudely interrupted the suspect. Mr. Turner said that Miss George was being belligerent and getting into the suspect's face. Mr. Turner stated that the suspect, as well as other employees, told Miss George to leave the premises, to which she refused. Mr. Turner stated at some point, Mr. George threw a drink at the suspect's face. Ms. Turner stated at that point he grabbed Miss George to escort her out. Officer asked Mr. Turner if he observed Miss George being punched by the suspect, to which he replied no. Officers also spoke with a witness, Melanie Turner, who corroborated Mr. Turner's story, and she also stated the suspect never punched Miss George. It should be noted that officers asked multiple employees and the owner, Taisha Hall, about the suspect, to which they said he had left. Officers were unable to speak with the suspect at this time. The Lima 907 Sergeant